Are Greyhounds good pets?
Would a Greyhound be a great pet for you? If you're trying to figure this out, stick around for the most helpful information on whether or not a Greyhound would be right for you. I have lots more videos to come about better living with your pet Greyhound, so while you're listening, be sure to subscribe and apply your paw to the bell for notifications. Because they're mainly known as competitive racing dogs, is a Greyhound right for me is a very common question. I never even knew the Greyhounds could be kept as pets until my husband told me. But now, after 23 years of life with my wonderful Greyhounds, I can provide you with the best answer for this question. So, are Greyhounds good pets? Yes, a Greyhound's the perfect pet for many. There's no single breed of dog that would suit everybody, though. It depends on what you expect out of your pet. If you're looking for a dog who roughhouses, fetches, doesn't need a leash, and will guard your property when he's not out with you helping you train for a 5K, move on. Go ahead, I won't be offended. Now, if you want a large, adorably sweet, mellow, low-maintenance dog who spends most of his time napping, you should look into getting a Greyhound, so keep watching. There's a survey over at thetop10s.com where they ask people what traits make a good pet. All dogs embody these traits to some extent, so you want to consider which traits are valuable to you personally in deciding whether or not a Greyhound is right for you. Let's use that list to see how they measure up. I've graded them on a scale of 1 to 5 milk bones. Loyalty, 4. Although Greyhounds are very loyal companions, they lose a point if there's any food around. Lily's first love is food. If I'm petting her and my daughter goes into the kitchen to make a sandwich, I'm lucky not to get trampled when Lily gets up to follow her. Sense of humor, 5. This is one area where Greyhounds really shine. They can be so goofy. There's not a day that goes by when my Greyhound doesn't make me smile. You may find your hound fast asleep on his back with all 4 long legs in the air. Quite a sight. If you're wearing shorts, he'll sneak up behind you and poke you in the back of the leg with that cold, wet nose. If he's glad to see you, he may run around and around on the rug in tight little circles. After we taught Lily to shake hands for a treat, she upped the game by punching me in the leg whenever I'm eating something and she wants a bit. Friendliness, 5. But it's not a sloppy jump all over you kind of friendliness, but many consider that a plus and not a minus. There can be a period when you first get them home when they're shy and reserved, but that tends to give way to a genteel, social personality. When my kids were 2 and 6, we went to the kennel to choose our second Greyhound. We brought each dog outside into the yard one at a time to see how they did with my kids, because some Greyhounds have never seen small children. Every single dog was extremely careful around them, and we're talking about 14 different dogs that we brought out one at a time. The day I came to pick up Peaches when we adopted her, the kennel manager's toddler was there. The kennel manager told me that Peaches was the dog that she used to take home whenever she needed to free up some space at the kennel, and that Peaches was great with kids. At that very moment, her little girl, in a fit of teething pain, started crying and flapping her hands. Peaches walked gently up to her and stood by sympathetically, literally turning the other furry cheek when the baby accidentally swatted her in the face. Another time, a very small child wandered up to Peaches and was idly waving a hamburger in her face while she was petting her. Peaches just enjoyed the affection and didn't even bother with the child's food. I must confess, though, that with Lily, that burger would have been toast. Helpfulness, 2. Most Greyhounds you'll meet have been bred for sprint racing. They love to be outdoors, but not for very long. If you need a dog as a jogging partner or loping beside you while you ride a bike, please do not get a Greyhound. A Greyhound's okay in most weather, but he only likes to be out for 10 or 20 minutes. After that, he'll head right for his pad and take a nap. They have a superb sense of smell, so they might be excellent as some type of sniffing dog, like a drug sniffer or something like that, if the hours weren't too long. Several Greyhounds have done well as therapy dogs, especially the kind who visit people in hospitals and other facilities. On a list compiled by InsiderMonkey.com, the Greyhound ranked 3rd for best service dog for people with PTSD, ranking only behind the Lab and the Golden. When I was hugely pregnant, I trained my Greyhound to help me up if I had to squat down for anything. She'd come right over, stop in front of me, and brace herself so I could put my hands on her back to stand up again. I was very proud later on to hear that this is a skill that they teach to service dogs. Companionship, 5. This is a real strength for Greyhounds. They're quiet and pleasant to be around. They don't make many demands on your time. In fact, I would even go as far as to say they respect your time. Lily has learned that on some days I can really fall behind on the household schedule. She hates when her dinner's late, but she will wait patiently for me to get to her. In fact, she's gotten so good at this that I was horrified last week to realize that it was 9:30 p.m. and she hadn't had her meal. Now, don't worry, she had eaten at lunchtime. But she sensed that I was crazy busy and didn't wish to be a burden, the poor thing. Now I actually praise her when she reminds me to get her dinner. Greyhounds have a temperament that's simply lovely. People comment on it all the time, how calm and sweet they are. They love to gaze at you, check out what you're doing, and just be with you. Many times with Peaches, I would wake up at the first light and find she was staring at me from her bed as though I was the first thing she wanted to see when the sun came up. Once I returned her look, she'd settle back down to sleep. All 3 of our dogs have loved to watch us eat. We don't want this to turn into begging, so we usually drag a pad over to where the dog can observe from a safe distance without being right at somebody's elbow. They love to see the food and to feel included in the family time. Intelligence. 3. I grade the Greyhound in the middle here because, like some geniuses, they're kind of smart dumb. They can be so laser focused on one thing that they miss other things. A perfect example is the fact that a Greyhound must always be leashed when they're not in the house or in an enclosed area. They're sight hounds. They can spot prey up to a quarter mile away. There are many sad stories of Greyhounds who spotted something and bolted into the road with tragic results, or ran off after something and were hopelessly lost by the time they stopped to think. They'll bolt through electric fences as well. Retractable leashes, those are another no-no. Again, the dog will bolt, not listen when you call him, and keep on running because that chunky plastic leash retractor is bouncing behind him and he thinks it's chasing him. Greyhounds have died from a broken neck after retractable leash incidents, which is why some adoption groups will actually make you sign a promise never to use one as a condition of adopting through them. Like I said, smart dumb. Emotion. 3? 5? This is a tough one to grade because it depends on what kind of emotion you're looking for in a dog. If we're talking about the classic doggy emotion, you might not get a lot of jumping, barking, licking, tail wagging out of your Greyhound. Yeah, they can do these things, and a lot do these things, but most are calm and reserved, a tendency which increases with age. Greyhounds love you, but they often save their most passionate displays for food and sleep. Even if a Greyhound's really excited about something, he may very well rein in that display of emotion to the point where his teeth will chatter madly. He's just got to get that excitement out somehow. Yes, you will get goofy displays of emotion from your Greyhound. It's just not as much of a regular thing as it is for other breeds. So, for overt doggy drama, I'd give them a 3. But for a loyal, loving heart and a gentle soul, a definite 5. Protectiveness. 1. The Greyhound's probably the worst possible breed you could choose as a guard dog. He's not going to dissuade someone from breaking in. If someone breaks into your house, your Greyhound may sleep through the whole thing. Occasionally, though, you do hear about a burglar who helps himself to something to eat as well as the rest of your stuff, and that just might get your dog's attention. Maybe. Some Greyhounds are afraid of loud noises as well. Everyone I've owned has been afraid of fireworks, gunshots, and thunder, even when they're miles in the distance. In spite of their passive ways, they can be territorial about beds, treats, or toys. This is trainable, but I just want to make sure you understand that your Greyhound's not a complete pushover. You may get some layer of protection on the street due to your Greyhound's tall, muscular, athletic appearance. As you're walking along, a big dog does help keep unwanted attention off of you. Shannon was our big 85-pound black-coated boy from Ireland. He had chunky paws, a thick, strong neck, a big head, and some serious-looking teeth. People would actually move to the other side of the road when they saw us coming. I had to laugh whenever this happened. They had no idea what a marshmallow he was. This was a dog that sparrows could have landed on safely. An odd exception to the rule occurred with Peaches. She was the most non-aggressive creature you can imagine, very timid in fact. But then one night, when I was putting on my shoes getting ready for our walk, she gave me a curious sniff. Then, while we were out on the walk, I was astounded to hear her growl at a man who passed us on the street. She was fine during the day, but she became very protective of me on those nighttime walks, emitting a low, menacing growl at the sight of any man or cat. If my husband was walking her, this didn't happen. Shortly after that, I learned that I was expecting a baby. Peaches, it seems, was the first to know, and she was always protective of me from that point on. So in this category, good old Peaches gets a 5. Playfulness, 3. Not so much. If you're looking for a dog to play fetch with you, you're probably going to be disappointed. The closest our Greyhounds have ever come to being interested in a tennis ball was Lily, occasionally chewing on one, and Shannon, who invented his own version where I throw the ball, he races with it, and I go fetch it at the finish line. Greyhounds are fun to play with, but it's when they feel like it, and they lose interest pretty quickly. They like to bite squeaky toys and catch bits of food that you toss. Interactive treat dispensing toys can work, but you have to train a Greyhound not to bite them open. Calm toys are meh, because your Greyhound will not actually play with them. He'll take it into his bed where he can relax with it. And while this is a good way to keep them occupied, it's more like snacking than playing. Kind of like when you sit down in front of a ball game with a bowl of unshelled peanuts. I guess the best way to sum up Greyhounds is this. If Greyhounds were sold in toy stores, they'd be in the aisle with the teddy bears, not in the aisle with the action toys. So, do you think a Greyhound would be a good fit for your lifestyle? Tell me why, or why not, in the comments. If you're a seasoned Greyhound veteran, what do you have to say that would help others decide if a Greyhound is right for them? You can help others with this critical decision by adding your thoughts as well in the comments. Hey, don't rush off. Why not watch another video and spend some more time enjoying the beauty of Greyhounds? Or check out the text version of this video and other great Greyhound articles at my website, greyhoundhomecare.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time on the Greyhound Home Care channel.